All right, you guys. Topnetworkersgroup here in the building. Al King, CEO and founder. I want to talk about why so many people are not coachable. And it's that time where I'm going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm going to say some things that are going to bother a couple of people out there. But if you know me very well, you know I don't mind stepping on toes and ruffling feathers as long as it's for a just and reasonable cause. And that is exactly the case here, you guys. You know, there's some numbers and some statistics that fly around the MLM industry all the time. One of the most famous ones, I would say, is that 95% of the people who join network marketing companies fail. And I have always sort of linked the two to whether or not people are coachable. I mean, it seems to me to go hand in hand, coachability and success. You know, I haven't met or heard of a single successful person in network marketing who became successful without being coachable. Like, not one. You know, I mean, I'm really trying to rack my brain as I'm talking here, and I can't even think of one. Like, not one. Not a single top earner in any company has ever gotten to the top and said, you know what, I didn't have any mentors. I was never coachable. I just did what I felt like doing. You know, I've never heard any of these top earners get on stage and say, you know what, I just bought books and listened to gurus online, and that's how I became successful. You know, it had nothing to do with my coach, my mentor, my sponsor. You know, I've never heard anyone say that, ever. Ever. And so when we talk about 95% fail, really what we're talking about is 95% aren't coachable. Like, really and truly, that's what it is. You know, people aren't coachable, guys. And if you can't be coached, you can't make money in this industry. Now, let me talk about that, because again, this is where I'm about to ruffle those feathers. You know, I'm a leader, and from time to time, leaders get into heated arguments with their downlines. I can remember one time, this was so long ago, we were leaving a briefing, and a gentleman that me and my partner at the time, we looked up to, you know, this was actually my sponsor, this was my business partner, and he and I both looked up to this other gentleman because he dressed so smoothly, he was a top producer, he seemed to always be on point. And as we were leaving the briefing, we happened to hear him in the parking lot in front of a lot of people cussing his team member out. And I can remember that day clearly because I'm sort of a heated, passionate guy. I've cussed a few people out. I'll be honest about that. My business partner, on the other hand, he's always sort of been a meek, mild kind of guy. He would rather run from confrontation than actually confront someone. And there was always one huge difference between he and I. I grew up playing sports. He didn't. He might have played sports for a year, you know, tried out for the team, didn't like it, and left, right? Here's the problem I continue to see in our industry, is that there are people who sign up for businesses and they don't really want to be coached, because sometimes coaching involves correction. Now, I'm not here to say that cussing someone out is the best way to go about doing it. There are some people, though, they won't hear you until you throw a few F-bombs at them. They won't even hear a word coming out of your mouth. And some people are so bad that even when you throw a couple of F-bombs at them, they still don't hear you. So I'm not here to say that cussing is the best way to go about it. You know, that's not my whole point. But my point is, sometimes as a leader and as a coach, you have to be stern. And you have to say things to people that they might not like. But that's where being coachable comes in, where you allow somebody to say some stuff to you that you might not like, because you realize it's going to help you in the long run. All great basketball players have been yelled at. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, you tell me and be honest and be straight faced. Have you ever seen Phil Jackson yell at players? Yes. And Phil Jackson's won how many championships? So don't tell me a leader never cusses at anybody. Don't tell me a leader never yells at anybody. Don't tell me this stuff because it's not true. And if you're thinking that way, you've never led anybody. But let me go deeper. Here's what I'm about to ruffle some feathers. The ones who have the biggest issue with this are women and men who didn't play sports. Now again, I'm about to step on some toes here. If you're a man who didn't grow up playing sports, there's a lot wrong with you, and I'm just being honest. You're one of the most sensitive people in the world, and you're not helping because you can't take instruction. You don't want nobody to tell you nothing. You don't want to follow nobody's order. Men who don't play sports, in my opinion, are always problematic to work with in business. Always. Every problem I've ever had in business came when I was working with a gentleman that did not understand sports. All of them. Now, a couple times I've gone separate ways. Me and another business partner might part ways for various reasons. But there's no discussion. There's no hate or animosity. We understand that we weren't working well together and had to go our separate ways. Right? We understand that. But the ones that leave with animosity generally didn't play sports. Generally speaking. And sometimes you see them in athletics, these uncoachable athletes. They never win championships. The ones who can't have a coach tell them what to do ever, they never make it. Like one of the things you'll always hear is you'll always hear Kobe Bryant speaking well about Phil Jackson. You'll always hear Michael Jordan speaking well about Phil Jackson. Because even though they were great players, even though they were the best on their teams, their coach still wanted to pull the very best out of them. So, yeah, there were times when Phil benched Kobe. There were times when Phil benched Michael Jordan too. Some of you guys didn't watch sports long enough to understand that. And you know, when a good coachable player leaves a good coach, they always say, you know what? When I played for so and so, we got things done. He didn't let anything slide. He pulled the very best out of me. And you know, there are just so many people who are in our industry of MLM. They leave a company and talk bad about their sponsor. They leave a company and talk bad about the upline. You know, they're always talking bad about the coach. You really got to question that person and find out, well, were you ever coachable? Did you allow that coach to teach you? Right? Before you allow someone to just talk bad about another person in your presence, question them. Oftentimes, you're talking bad about other people to deflect the blame from themselves. You guys, I have to go. If you want to be successful in this business, in this line of work, you must be coachable. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Thanks for watching, you guys. Oh, and let me say this in closing. If you're a woman or a man, you didn't play sports, it's okay. It's okay. But trust me, there are some things about business that will benefit you if you will at least study sports. Study it. You will see so many correlations, right? Sports and business really go together very well, okay? I'm not saying you cannot be successful, but you got to get over some things. If you're a woman or a man that didn't grow up watching sports, playing sports, there are some things that you're going to have to get used to. The society we live in is not conducive to sports thinking. The society we live in is conducive to robotic thinking. They want you thinking in a certain type of way so you can be controlled. In sports, you're not being told to run a certain play in order to control you. In fact, you're being told to run a certain play, to run a certain way, in order to free you up, in order to make you the best that you could be. It's not to hold back your talent. It is to actually help your talent flow. That's what good coaching does. That's what good correction does. But you have to allow yourself to be corrected. There's so many basketball players who never reach their potential because they won't allow themselves to be corrected. They get traded from team to team to team, and they're always blaming the coach, always blaming the organization. They never once say, you know what, I just never became the type of player that I was capable of being. So, okay, with that, let me run. But again, be coachable, allow yourself to be coached, and I'll see you at the very top. Thanks for watching.